Hi, creative friends. This is Freya, and thank you so much for being here. So I allowed everything to completely dry, and I just wanted to point out a few simple things that might get lost in the mix. So the very first thing I would like to point out is that this is a very rudimentary portrait. Like, there's nothing too over the top going on. There's just a bunch of shapes and values. Yeah, there's some lines over here with my blue Stabilo pencil, but basically this is a simplified version of a portrait, but I just want to savor the simplicity of it. Like, even though there's not a lot going on, you can immediately see that it is a portrait of a female face. The brain is going to make up stuff that's not there. So you're just, even though this is just a shape, the eyes, your brain is going to instantly read this as eyes, simply because of where they are placed. You're going to use contextual clues. So you're going to say, oh, that's the nose, that's the lips, that's the hair. So your brain is going to fill in all of these little things. You don't have to be really precise and detailed. I mean, if you want to be, that is totally fine. But when you're painting and you're going for a more painterly approach, whether you're doing a landscape, a still life, a portrait, it helps when you leave some things painted, unsaid, if you will, because the brain is going to fill these things in, and it's going to give your work a more painterly approach. The second thing is that I am working large shapes to smaller shapes. So inside, this is a big shape over here, what is going to be the eye socket. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put smaller shapes inside of this big shape. I'm going to do the same for everything else. So for the lips, for the nose, for the hair, etc. There are bigger shapes, and then you work towards the smaller shapes. And I tend to work dark values to light values. So I put the darkest values first, and then I went with my mid-tone. And at this stage, I don't want to mix I don't want to mix my yellow with my black. I will do that later, but I don't want to do that right now. So let's just dive right in. And what I'm going to do is I am going to continue applying my yellow, but I'm going to add my yellow, and now I'm going to start mixing my colors a little bit. So I'm going to get some white out because thus far I haven't used my white paint. I've just kind of used the white of the page. So I'm just going to get a little bit of the titanium white. Now, I would love to use some other colors in this, like I'm really itching to do that, but I'm not going to. Doing these value studies with a very limited color palette is going to improve your knowledge and use of values. And there is a beauty in the simplicity of it. There really is. So now I'm kind of mixing in my colors here. And I'm just mixing the yellow and white in varying strengths, varying proportions. And that hairline is a bit too close to the eye socket there, but that's okay. And so all I'm doing is I'm just, building up my values here. And Now, once you start adding the white with the black, you're going to get like really delicious shades of gray. And that's going to open up a whole other world of neutrals. And this might seem a bit boring, you guys, like especially when you love working with color. Like I absolutely love color, but there's something so relaxing working this way too. It's kind of like your brain doesn't get stimulated by all that color, and you can really focus on the values. You know, because when you're like inundated with all these like beautiful colors like pinks and reds and oranges and, you know, whatever, yeah, I love that. But working in this way is just like, it just calms you down. And it really helps you focus on, you know, the values. So instead of getting distracted by color, I am now more looking at my values, because I don't have the distraction of all these different colors. And values become really important when you have a limited color palette. So I'm just kind of like using my fingers a lot here. And do you see how it's getting like dimension? And I haven't even mixed the black and the white yet. So I'm going to start doing that now. And I want to go for... So I'm going for kind of a darker value here. And I'm just building up. See, I'm putting like smaller shapes inside of the bigger shape here for the eyes. I'm just kind of building up some, you know, darker values here. Now, things can get a little messy, you guys. I'm not gonna lie. But, you know, I'm just gonna use it to my advantage here. So do you see how like I'm just building up the form here, and I'm not even using a lot of different values. Like I'm not using my full range of values, but I'm gonna kind of use this dot method because I really am loving the dots. Even though like I don't have all the different colors, I'm still gonna kind of use the dots here. And okay, you guys, I am gonna kind of... So I'm using the water with the yellow to just kind of, you know, to give me like a lighter colored yellow, a lighter valued yellow. Ooh, this has a potential to get kind of messy, you guys. So let me just try to work on the hair a little bit here. So see, again, I am putting smaller shapes inside of bigger shapes. And I'm gonna go like so. Now I'm gonna start using just the leftover paint on my palette here. And I do that a lot. I just like get whatever paint is on my palette and I just kind of start using it. And that way you can get some interesting colors and values and variations, and I'm not wasting my paint. So it's like a win-win. Okay, you guys, I'm gonna let this completely dry because I don't want it to turn into a big mess. But as you can see, she's starting to get some dimension and form, and I only use 3 colors. I'm expanding my values by mixing my colors together. And yeah, like she's really starting to kind of take shape here. So if you've watched all the way to the end, you guys, thank you so much. And I will see you in my next video. Bye.